Anyway,
I like the disco balls. They look cute.
I know. I feel like I need to buy my own and give you your disco balls back.
I don't really use them on the daily, believe it or not.
Really?
I mean, no.
You have disco ball earrings?
I love a disco ball. I know. I really hope it's a trend that doesn't go away because it is like very trendy, but I'm so into it.
I'm like, forget the trend. It's just Allie, you know?
Yes,
it's
it is.
very
I am
Allie.
a human disco ball.
Yeah, that's accurate. If you could put disco balls on your titties.
Woo! I actually have disco. My nipples are actually little tiny disco balls. No, but I did hear, what was it? It was on Real Housewives or something where they said that someone was a human party bus. And I thought that was really funny because
That's
it's
awesome.
like a compliment, but also like party buses are kind of trashy. You know, like they have
Yeah.
a stripper pole.
Yeah,
and I'm like, yeah, that's probably me. I'm kind of like a human
I
party
can see that. I can 100%
filled
see
with
that.
cheap liquor.
That's
But like everybody loves it.
You can have a great time.
You're
Music's
gonna have-
jumping.
you're gonna have fun.
There's all sorts of let's see. I was gonna say drugs, but I could.
So it's like
I was
cheap, like
there's
hard
things-
seltzers and like
a lot of
crappy vodka.
A lot of options to have fun in a party bus.
Yeah.
Party bus.
In a party bus.
In a party bus.
human party
Oh
buses.
my God. Oh yeah, welcome to Weddings Uncensored, where we drink and talk and drink. I'm Kyle.
I'm Allie, and we are here breaking down the good, the bad, and the downright crazy of this whole wedding industry. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. Thank you for joining in again. Today we're actually talking about the banger moments
Yep,
and
the money shots.
The money shots and like how to make them memorable for photo and video.
Yep.
And just our personal tips and tricks of what would be actually important to know and kind of
Yeah, and
what
plan
to expect.
Right. You are spending a lot of money on photo and video.
Yes.
It is the only thing that is lasting from this fabulous event that we're throwing.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to make sure that you're thinking about those photo, video moments, prepping for them, you
Yep.
know, or also if you don't care about certain ones, that's okay.
Yep.
But knowing that as well, because
Yes.
we need to adjust timelines and prep people and things for those photo moments.
Yeah, and I think if you have the expectation of what is actually going to happen too, I think that'll help with timeline in general because nothing is surprising.
Yes.
You kind of know what to expect.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. So we'll kind of talk through the day. And like, I guess I'm sort of imagining it if you're so distracted.
what?
So distracted. If you were looking through your wedding album later on, right? Like these are the shots that you would probably use to fill up that album. Or
Yes.
if you were making a highlight video as a wedding videographer, these are
here.
like the key moments that you're kind of gonna look back at and remember.
Yeah. Exactly. So we should dive into it.
We should dive into it. So I always like my little line. I joke. I'm full of jokes. I tell people at rehearsals this is not about love or happiness. This is about good photos. So everything from, the placement of where you're standing during the ceremony to, how we're designing the timeline is going to impact your overall photo and video.
Yes. And I think too, this will also depend on the type of, I think this is a good segue, is it depends on the type of photography and videography that you have. Because I think timeline could probably look a little different if you're wanting editorial, a lot of pose shots, like you want the photographers to bring lights and backlights and flashes and all sorts of stuff. That will take more time.
Yep.
So you have to consider those things too. If you want that for family photos, everything should be happening in one location. Same thing for your portrait session. Like there's going to be more people, more movement, which requires more time.
Yep.
So if you're also going in the spectrum, which I think Steph and I lean more towards, is more of the candid style.
Yep.
We're not necessarily bringing all of the lights and all of the extra things. We just want to have you two just kind of enjoy yourselves, and we'll find some spots, obviously, for lighting purposes, and we'll help with prompts. But overall, we're not bringing too much to the table, so we don't need.
You're
that much
capturing
time.
what's already happening rather than creating these moments.
Yeah.
You're capturing the organic moments.
Exactly. And there's no right or wrong type of photography or videography. I think it's just know what you want and know what you're getting yourself into. But if you're getting more of a candid photographer, I would say usually we don't need as much time. If you want the editorial and you want flash and all this other stuff, it might take a little bit more time.
For sure.
But going into the first sections of the day, we're talking about the getting ready.
Right. So that's like an example is like you said, do you care about maybe some of these more dramatic shots, the dress hanging in the window,
the robe shots.
Yes, all of these like cutesy, moments. Yes,
sister with shoes,
flat lays, which is like when you see like those shots of invitations and shoes and rings, and they're kind of top down. Yep. They're kind of like artistically placed. Mm-hmm. Like all of that is going to take a hot minute.
Yep.
And if you don't care about those things, totally fine as well. But if you do, you can't expect your photographer who thinks you're putting on your dress and we only have time to do, X, Y, and Z.
Yes.
And you're like, but what about detail shots of my shoes at the, top of the mountain?
I want them hanging. Yeah, exactly. Oh, I want the rings standing up side by side next to each other, with the shoes right there, and it matches perfectly. Yeah,
exactly. Which again is fine.
That's fine.
Like it or don't, but it will take some time and prep it and all of that stuff. Yep. So yeah. So getting ready. Usually, what I tell people, and you can tell me if I'm mistaken on this.
No, you're right.
Good answer. He's a married man. You can tell. I usually have photo and video show up kind of at the very tail end of hair and makeup, or like right as makeup is getting done, because you might think you want a lot of those types of getting ready shots, but like you don't.
You don't want half of your face ready.
No. And like nobody wants this picture of them like with like in their skivvies, like with no, like it's just, those are not the ones that are actually going to go in the album.
Yep.
You might want the very tail end of hair and makeup being there. You more getting dressed, the pajama shots, that kind of stuff is fine. Mm-hmm. But I don't think you really want hair and makeup coverage.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I would say, you don't want really half of your face. I would say if you do want the flat lay though, I would still say have them like another half hour or even an hour earlier, because sometimes flat lay can actually take a long time.
Yeah.
And people don't understand that.
Yeah.
Some photographers, they have like rolls of different like layouts.
But some photographers, the flat lay is their thing.
It's the thing. Yeah, exactly. Or like maybe that's why you booked this photographer, was the first thing that caught your eye was the flat lay. Yep. So if that is something that is important to you, you need to allocate, either book them for just another hour so you don't have to worry about your timeline per se.
Yep.
But, give them the time that they want or that they need, or ask the questions. But the photographer should also be asking those questions or saying, what time are you getting ready? Okay, I need to be there 2.5 hours before you start getting your makeup done.
Yep.
Or get your face on, basically.
Get your face on, girl.
Come on. Get your face on so I can take some photos of you.
And if a flat lay is important to you too, they should be asking for like all that stuff should be prepped. So the photographer will have a list of like, I want an invitation. I want, your jewelry. I want the groom's cufflinks. I want all of these things like ready to go in a bag. Mm-hmm. And that way they can just like take the time and do that while you're finishing getting hair and makeup done. Yeah.
100%.
I would also say, as you're designing the hair and makeup timeline or the guys getting ready, whatever it is, like making sure that everybody is ready. Like I've had some clients say, oh, well, like my mom can still be doing hair and makeup like while I get dressed because she's not needed for the first look, for example, right? Mm-hmm. But probably you want your mom in those reaction photos of you putting on your dress or, whatever. Like better that everyone is photo ready than to like be running behind or having people be late or whatever. So it is annoying to start hair and makeup at 6 a.m. and all of that jazz. Yep. But, mom's going to be so much happier that she's there to witness it and feeling and looking beautiful and not scrambling for those types of moments as well.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I'm trying to think of anything for the guys specifically for their photos and they're getting ready. Sometimes the guys will have like something engraved or a pendant or something inside their jacket. I'd rather not. Go ahead. Burp. Go ahead.
I know, but it was like a gross.
You saw me. I was like, go ahead, burp.
It was a gross coffee burp. It wasn't like a beer. Normally it's like a beer burp and they're like, strong,
What was that? But sometimes the guys will have like either a pendant or something custom on their jackets or the socks or whatever it is. If you want your photographer and videographer to capture it, please tell them before.
Tell them, yeah. They don't know that there's like a secret charm sewn into.
Seriously though. Yeah. It's happened many a times.
Yeah. And usually for the guys, I would say like 80% of the time, it's more like fake getting ready photos. So it's like they already come dressed and we're just kind of putting on a jacket or straightening the tie or pinning the boutonniere. And it's kind of those final details. Again, do you really need a photo of them like in their skivvies, like getting ready or like they probably don't care about their suit hung in a window or something like that.
Yeah. And I would say still lean in though and know what you want as far as like photo video, because there's many times where like, yes, I want to be candid. But I literally need the groom, please just take your jacket off and I need you to just put it on one more time.
Yeah.
Because like it will complete the film and it doesn't take long. Guys usually don't really want like to be captured with their chonies on. You know what I'm saying? And always hanging out with the guys. How many photos, videos, moments do you actually want captured of that?
Yeah.
I think we hit the nail on the head on the getting ready. I think we're good.
Okay.
The next topic is first look.
Yep.
Which I know we've talked about before.
We talk about endlessly.
We have talked about the first look. So there's plenty of other episodes if you want to know the pros and cons, the do's and don'ts.
Yeah.
I think for photo video moments specifically, the one thing that comes to my mind is after the first look has happened, they just stare at each other and be like, now what?
Yeah.
Now what? It's like, oh, whatever you guys want to do. Like, you just let us know, like, okay, I think we're good now. Then we can go on and we can take some photos of just you two, because now that daylight savings is slowly coming to an end, sadly, this will be the time where you should know that the portrait session that usually happens at sunset will probably not happen, because sometimes ceremony is happening during sunset. Grand entrance is happening right at sunset, and there's really not much that you can do about that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Just consider your lighting.
Yes.
People, I mean, God, I really, really try to like stress timeline and ceremony start time with all my clients, but they're still always, it's always like the November weddings.
It's hard.
Where they're like, oh, we didn't realize that sunset's at fucking 4:30 or whatever. And you thought that you had plenty of time, but you didn't. So definitely considering that. And it could be a reason to do a first look.
Yes. 100%.
Versus maybe if you were waffling on either side. Even getting those family photos done, like not just even just the romantics of the two of you. Like, do you want those natural light photos? Because you'll need to make sure that you structure for that for sure.
Yeah. And I think lighting is so important. But if you do the first look during that November to February ish time, I would say just assume that's the only time that you're going to take photos with you and your partner. Just you two.
Yeah.
And then you can go do the immediate family photos, the bridal party and stuff like that. But just as a word of caution, because it has happened a few years back, now that I'm more seasoned and I know now, where couples will think like, oh, like, let's go take sunset pictures.
Later,
it's like, no, you literally don't have the time to do that, because the sun is setting at 4:30 or 4:15 or even 4:45, you know, and that's not enough. That's not enough time to fit a portrait session in there. So
everything takes more time than you think it's going to.
100%.
So like there's the real world and then there's the wedding world.
Yep.
And so in the real world, it takes you 45 seconds to put on a dress. In the wedding world, it takes 45 minutes. Like just know that.
Yep.
And if you would just expect it, like be patient as fuck, because everything's just going to take a really long time, especially if you want it captured beautifully.
100%.
Along with the first look, what are your thoughts on the trend of doing like private vows, or, you know, couples that choose to have private vows during their first look time versus doing it during their ceremony?
I think it's an excellent idea. Ultimately, whatever you want to do, please do that.
Yeah, of course. But I guess from a photo video perspective,
I love it. I love either or when you have personal vows.
Yeah.
Especially for videography. If it's photography, then I can't I can't hear words in photos anyway. No? So, it wouldn't really matter on the photo.
In photos.
Yeah, in the photo moments, it doesn't really matter. But for video, obviously, it would matter. I would say please have vows in general.
Yeah.
If you choose not to have vows, that's totally fine. It's your video. It's not mine.
Yeah, but it really does add a lot to the video to have those personal vows.
Yeah, because then we can use like an instrumental song versus like me trying to find a song that has lyrics and it has to be about love.
Oh, okay. Because when you're editing it, you're using the vows as audio with just some background music.
Exactly. I'm having the music help the vows and help the scenery versus having to rely on a really good song with good lyrics to help tell the story of just footage of the wedding day.
Yeah. I love personal vows too.
Oh, they're the freaking best.
It really makes all the difference in the world to making the day feel special, and like your guests will love it too. It really is my favorite thing. Yeah.
And that's assuming you did the vows at the ceremony.
At the ceremony, obviously, yeah. But regardless, I do think it's really a nice part of the whole day.
I don't have a preference of if you do it at the first look or if you do it at the ceremony. I think that will be highly dependent on you, the couple.
Yeah.
If you want to share those like really intimate and special words in front of other people.
Yeah.
Or if you want to just keep it between you two. Like two weddings ago, this couple this couple had their first look and did personal vows, but they wanted to keep them private, and they don't even want them in the highlight video, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
I just told her, I was like, they were beautiful. I have to make you your own like little vow video.
That's cute.
It's included in their raw.
You don't have to put it on Instagram, but I want you to have this for yourself.
100%.
That's nice.
Like that's just sentimental for me. I'm like, I wish I had that.
Totally.
With Steph and I, you know what I mean? So. If you're good at speaking in front of other people, then go for it. I have had a couple too, on the video side at least. She was a little more insecure about like just her voice in general. She had more of like a daintier voice, but she didn't want that on the highlight video. But she still wanted to say her vows in front of her friends and family at the ceremony. And that's totally fine. I just used a song that was actually, I think it was an instrumental, no lyrics or anything. And I think I used like speeches on top and stuff.
Right. But that's so good. I like, even as a planner, I don't think about that stuff of how the video is edited together. And like, I mean, obviously now that you're saying that, I can imagine,
like,
I can, what I've seen.
Yeah.
But those are really good things to consider if you have hired a videographer and how you sort of want that to flow and how you want to illustrate it in your video.
Yep.
Good.
Going into the ceremony, I guess we kind of already talked about it, or talked about the vows specifically. But for the ceremony, people forget to walk slowly. They hustle down. Please just take your time. Enjoy that walk. Go ahead and dance down the aisle if you want to.
Yeah.
For the bridal party, at least,
Take it slow. Yes. I always tell, when we rehearse, like I really try to pace them, but then I remind them again on the wedding day, because when people get nervous, they just tend to do everything faster. They talk faster, they walk faster. Like it's just what happens. So you have to really mentally take a moment.
Yeah.
And I always tell people, I'm like, if it feels uncomfortable, that's good.
Yeah.
Like you want it to feel a little uncomfortably slow. So for sure, that's a big piece.
And I think too, right before you as in bridesmaids, bride, groom, whoever it is, family, parents, grandparents, take a deep breath right before you go down the aisle.
Love it.
If you do that, almost 100% of the time, you will walk slower because you just took in the moment. So just take a real deep breath, relax,
smile,
let your shoulders down, and go ahead and walk on down. Go ahead and walk on down. You're just there to have fun. You're enjoying the moment. If you're in the bridal party, you're just happy to be there celebrating with them.
Yeah.
If you're the bride or the groom, like enjoy that walk.
Yeah.
I do love when the audience and the guests are cheering for the groom when they walk down.
Yeah.
Oh, I freaking love it. Sometimes like I, as a videographer, I want to start cheering because I hear like maybe a couple like random people start clapping, and then part of me is like, oh, I really just want to like fire everybody up.
Yeah.
So maybe I should just start telling people to like
just start cheering. I had one recently where people just were clapping like the whole processional. Like they were like, it was like the fucking basketball team was coming out, like, and everyone was like, yeah, like every pair that walked down.
Yeah, exactly.
It was really cool, but. I mean, yeah, it should be really fun, but think about those from a photo video perspective as well. Yes, take your time. As you are standing up there, like this sounds really simple, but this is like one of my biggest pet peeves when I look at photos or videos after. Like the couple should be standing very close together.
Oh, yeah.
I always tell people to hold hands, which might feel a little uncomfortable or whatever. Like you're like, this is weird. But it's a good like physical cue to like, first of all, face each other. So again, when people get nervous, they'll end up turning and facing the officiant.
To the people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Facing the officiant because it's like, that's who's
talking.
Who's talking. And there's 150 people staring at you, which is weird for most folks, you know? So holding hands is a good physical cue to stand nice and close together and to look at your partner.
Yeah.
So people are able to see the sides of your faces at least and not just,
100%.
And making sure for the officiants that they step aside during a few of those moments. Obviously, the kiss is a huge piece, but I always tell my officiants to also step aside if they are reading personal vows or if there's like another speaker that comes up, like kind of being aware of what's like would be in the frame.
Yeah.
Wedding parties also standing a little uncomfortably close together so that everyone kind of fits in nice and tight. Like if people are kind of scattered or like, you know what I mean? When people look a little sloppy, like you want it all to look really tight.
Yeah. And I would say too, like sometimes, a lot of couples like having their friend or uncle or dad or someone be the officiant, and that's totally fine. I think if you are doing personal vows, I would say put it in the script that they're reading. Step aside.
Step aside. Yeah.
Step aside. I now pronounce you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because I don't like having to remind the officiant or whoever it is to like, hey, right before the ceremony happens. Hey, I know you're dealing with a lot right now and you're about to speak in front of a lot of people, but I need you to remember two things.
Yeah.
Step aside and step the fuck aside.
Well,
you know?
and they also don't remember. I mean,
sometimes they don't. Yeah.
I officiated one of my best friend's weddings. I'm a fucking wedding planner. I tell people this. Yes. I tell people once a week to do this. Like I am during rehearsals, and I still didn't step aside during the first. Like what a fucking asshole. Like if you're not a professional,
you're a fucking asshole.
If you're not a professional, you're thinking about a million other things.
Yes,
like it
100%.
just is what it is. Yeah. So yes, that's a really big piece for the kiss. I always tell people 3 Mississippis. You're going to hold that kiss. Slow Mississippis. Let's do it together. Ready.
Even if you don't like PDA, you need the photo. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi,
3 Mississippi. That's a long kiss. Some people really don't like, people who hate PDA, that feels very uncomfortable to them.
I would say too, if you don't like holding one kiss for 3 seconds, kiss multiple times with it. Not like that. Not like that. Give it like a
tongue or no tongue?
I mean, if you're asking me, I would 100% say tongue. Steph and I threw that tongue right down there.
Of course you did.
Yeah, of course I did.
That tongue right down there.
Right.
3 Mississippis, and then you're going to turn. So this is like the only choreography. I make them practice like 3 times at the rehearsal.
Let me see it.
So there are 3 Mississippi kiss. And then it's a turn and face all your adoring fans. At that moment, the bride gets back her bouquet. You're going to give it a beat where you're like, we're fucking married. Either that's right after the kiss and the music starts, or maybe the officiant is saying for the first time, Mr. and Mr., whatever you want to say. And then you're going to walk down the aisle slowly, dance down, whatever you got to do. And I want one more 3 Mississippi kiss at the end of the aisle. Mm-hmm. That's like the shot that people really like these days too. Is that like maybe you're doing a dip or you're just holding up your flowers or whatever that moment is.
Yep.
But you'll be really happy that you did that last shot too.
One thing I would adjust for the kiss after you've walked down.
Okay.
Don't necessarily, it doesn't have to be at the end of the aisle.
Okay.
Do it, because sometimes like, you have a really big ceremony area and you filled up 50%.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You filled up 50% of the pews or the seats or whatever it is. You don't want the photo where there's a bunch
empty
of
chairs.
You see empty chairs.
So where the end of the humans are.
Yes, exactly.
Got it.
And your photographer, videographer should be telling you, because we're tracking you anyway.
Yeah.
I literally will just like point 2 fingers and be like, yo, you guys need to kiss. Or I'll yell at you saying, kiss, come on.
Is this the international sign for kiss?
I mean, that's Kyle's international sign. This is Kyle's international sign. of Kiss. But yeah, so I would say do it at the end of wherever people are, or even if it is a large group, I would even say in the middle.
In the middle of it.
In the middle.
Yeah.
Just
but
so
it's
not the same spot.
Yeah.
It's not your first kiss per se, but it's a celebratory kiss.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
and it looks pretty with all your guests in there. And also if just in case your officiant didn't step to the side, like gives you another like ceremony kiss shot that you can be sure that you've got.
Exactly.
So yeah, I like that one a lot.
Yeah. That's the ceremony.
Yes. I think next in the timeline is usually family photos.
Yes, immediate family photos.
All family photos.
That's right. That's after the ceremony. This is after first looks. Sometimes it's immediate. After ceremony, you have everybody's photos.
Regardless, the big tips for family photos is to be as organized as possible with this, because this can definitely be a very stressful part of the day, which is just silly, but it's just organizing a lot of humans. We're usually in a hurry.
Yep.
It's a lot of personalities. Like there's always something. So creating a shot list.
So I have pros and cons of the shot list. So pro of the shot list, you know exactly who you want photos with, and it's all planned accordingly.
Yep.
Now,
all the combos
of the people that you want. This is what you want. You give it to your photographer and you say, Kyle, Stephanie, this is exactly who I need photos of. Hey, sounds good. Wedding day comes. Guess what? Grandma, grandpa, the nieces and nephews, they're running around or they're taking a dump. They're in the bathroom.
Yeah.
They're not over here. What do? What do you want the videographer to? Well, not photographer, because you don't want videography of family photos. That's just dumb. Don't do it. I'm telling you, please don't do it. But for the photographer, like, you have to move on. You have to keep going because you can't just sit and wait. So I would say if you can let everybody know or have the officiant know, please, everybody who wants to be in a photo, stay right here.
Yeah.
Don't go anywhere.
Exactly.
If you are friends and you know you are not on the family shot list or the shot list,
go to cocktail hour.
Have a blast.
Yeah.
Beat it. If you are on the family shot list and you think that they want a photo with family, if you consider yourself family, then stay. I'm
so psycho about when my weddings do family photos. So I like a shot list. I like to assign family wranglers, I call them.
Love it.
Like, even as a coordinator, if I'm there to help, I don't know who Aunt Sharon is, right? Like, I can only be so helpful because I don't know who everybody is.
You and your team are great at that.
I have found it be scary when you say all families stay for photos, because then you're going to have some weird second cousin that you didn't want in your photos or whatever.
Yeah.
So I am like super explicit at the rehearsal to tell the parents. I share the shot list with everybody. I say, these are the people who are going to stay. But like you said, stay at the ceremony right after. Granted, this is like ideal. Of course, it doesn't actually go this smoothly every time, but this is best laid plans, right? And either it's parents or a sibling or a wedding party member who knows who all those family members are. But same thing. As soon as we lose someone to the bar or the bathroom, it's all over.
It's gone.
That's when things get
diapers
really
gotta
hairy.
change. Okay, there's the uncle and the nephew. You know, they're both gone. And I think just remembering that, yes, they're on the shot list. If they don't happen to make it at the immediate or the family photo session, just make sure that you take the photo.
Later.
Yeah, just let the photographer know of like, hey, grandma wasn't here or grandpa, whoever, we weren't able to get a photo with them. We have to get a photo with them at some point in time. Okay, sounds good. How about when you're done with, after you're done eating or everyone's done eating and people are kind of like chilling out just for a little bit. Let's just go and take the 2 or 3 photos that we didn't get at the family photo session. Let's get it now.
Yeah.
As long as you, I think, just remember, as long as you get the photo.
Yeah.
The location, sure, you want with the best background, you want it at the ceremony. I get it.
Who's the family that you're going to put in those holiday cards,
Yeah.
right? Like, that's the shot. And then if it's like random aunt or something, it's really not a big deal.
Yeah, if it happens to be at cocktail hour too. You know what I mean? Like, cocktail hour, I'm sure, will have a couple locations where you can quickly take a photo.
Yeah.
Maybe some random people are in the background or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Take 3 seconds, move them out of the way, take the photo. You've got it.
Totally.
But don't make it like a make or break if they're not there and they can't take it. Don't freak the fuck out.
Yeah.
Like, just take the photo again or take that photo some other time at some point in time in the rest of rest of the day.
Yeah, exactly. But that is also why that shot list is nice, because then later you can refer back and be like, we did miss one with just me and my sorority sisters or whatever. And you can just make sure that somewhere throughout the day that you get that.
Yeah. And I think your team is great at it, but I don't work with your team all of the time.
Yeah.
So your a question to ask, I guess, if you have a planner and a coordinator, is asking them, hey, can you help with the family photos? Because I love that you go to the rehearsal. I don't know if all planners and coordinators do that. Yeah. I love that you do that. So I don't want to necessarily assume for everyone else.
No,
you know what I'm saying? For all the people.
Not at all. But that's what I'm saying.
That's what you need to think about. Even if you don't
have a planner, I want you to think about those things.
Exactly.
And whoever is wrangling the shit show needs to keep those things in mind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think we're good on family photos. Yes. Perfect. The next little section was romantics.
Okay.
Romantics. So usually the planner will be like, okay, you have
what's a romantic? Tell the people don't know what that term. That's a stupid wedding lingo term.
Your romantics or portrait session is photos between just you two.
Yeah.
That's it. No guests. No bridal party. It's you, the photographer, videographer, and
private.
You're now husband or wife or partner.
And
you know what I
this
mean?
is usually maybe you're being stolen away at sunset, or maybe you've taken the golf cart over to a more private part of
the venue.
We're talking about this is those moments where you're getting the
just you two, all of the feels, right?
And again, this is going to take some time.
Yes, exactly. I would
budget in.
Exactly. So usually the planner will already tell us, hey, this is how much time you have to work with. They have grand entrance at this time.
Yep.
We need to bustle her. We need to, all those things. So that can range, I would honestly say, anywhere between 15 to 45 minutes. I personally really only need 15 to 20 minutes. I don't need too much.
Yeah.
Let's see.
And some people like to do those, just think about where you're envisioning them, because I have seen people do them completely off site.
Yes.
You
have to drive somewhere.
You have to drive somewhere, which, I mean, to me, that's
Please
crazy.
don't do that. Don't do just.
But people do it all the time.
If you want those photos, go do it earlier at your first look. Yeah, exactly.
I know. I agree. But people do that. So thinking about that and how that's going to be kind of budgeted, and thinking about lighting, again, that's probably the time when you want it to be the most glowy, really lovely.
Yep.
Not being in a hurry, ideally, would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
And I've also seen romantic sessions now. Occasionally you'll see them later at night, or some darker, cool, moody shots, which I think is kind of cool too. Yep. So it doesn't necessarily have to be
early.
Have to be. It could be later when you're a little drunk and you go make out when it's all dark under the market lights.
Yeah.
That could be a really cool romantic moment too.
100%. And I think too, just knowing when you're booking your photographer and videographer, also know when the sunset is happening and if that sunset is going to happen during a portrait session or not during a portrait session. Because if you hire said photographer, right, and all of the photos that you fell in love with are during the sunset time, guess what? Comes your wedding day in December.
Yep. Not happening.
It ain't happening.
Right.
Now the photographer that you dreamed of, I'm going to have photos just like this, they don't exist because you had to take your portrait session during the middle of the day at 1 o'clock after your first look, or 2 o'clock after your first look.
Yes.
So just keep in mind of your expectations.
Or what's your venue? Is your venue all indoors?
Yeah,
and you fell in love? I mean, we talked about this, I think, in the photographer one, but what are the examples that you're looking at and dreaming of posting on your Instagram later?
Yes, exactly.
And is that even realistic that exists on your wedding day?
Yeah. And I think too, it's important. I mean, this is just, I guess, for photographers, videographers, of showing a variety of your portfolio of a portrait session outdoors at sunset, a portrait session of couples just midday full sun, or nighttime photos, or the reception photos. Get a full variety.
I love that.
At least on your grid, right? Just showing some variety. I think that'll help, because it can also help just set the expectations of your clients of oh, I could get this, or this, or this, you know?
No, I like that. I think that's really good.
Make sure you tell your videographer, this is just my personal take, tell your videographer the type of music that you like that helps you either mellow out or be goofy and have fun, depending on the type of photos and videos that you want.
You mean during the session you're playing music? Okay, I like that.
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. I'm always bringing music. I'm bringing I'm bringing this speaker right here. This big bad boy right here.
Big bad boy.
Big bad boy, the Bose. But no, I bring music just because it totally helps set the tone.
Yeah.
And I love, whether you're a candid or you want the pose stuff, I love telling the couple to dance to one particular song just for like 2 minutes. No talking from the photographer, no talking from the videographer, just you two, because so very few moments happen where it's just you two and no one's fucking talking to you. So I try to do that every single wedding, at every single portrait or romantic session, just telling you, just go dance. But if you know a song that you just like, I don't know, imagine yourself, you're dancing in the kitchen with each other. What song would you put on? Let's play that just for 2 minutes. We'll go right back to the fun. We'll go right back to whatever poses the photographer wants to do. But I think it's super important to just like, again, breathe, you know, and just like take a moment and soak it all in.
That's cool. I like that. That's a good tip.
Anything else for the romantics? I can't think of anything right now.
That's good. I think that's pretty much
I'm sure
good.
that
it's again just budgeting in timeline, making sure that you have, you know, the space. And again, I like that, managing your expectations of what that is actually going to look like too. Yeah.